Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. NFL Week 8 is upon us here, and welcome into the PHLY Bets presented by bet365. Find out why it's never ordinary at bet365. Use promo code PHLY right up there. PHLY365 at sign up. You can get $200 in bonus bets. Those can be used on futures, parlays, lines, player props, all that good stuff. A ton of great stuff on the Bet365 app, including our custom PHLY boosts that we get to do every weekend for the birds. And this weekend's boost, it was taken from plus 200 to plus 250. Just a little 250 return on a hopefully is a relatively easy bet. Saquon Barkley to score a touchdown. Jamar Chase over 50 yards. A.J. Brown over 75 receiving yards. A little plus 250 on the homepage there at Bet365. So you can check that out. And remember, just gamble responsibly out there. All right. The reason I left the odds off of this promo boost this weekend was because I don't have a strong feel on this one. Unfortunately, I do have a couple player props and the over under on the birds we'll get into. But first, entering week 8, let's hit some of the trends that we talked about on Thursday that still apply to this weekend. There's just 2 double-digit favorites on the year leading into this weekend, and you get that many this weekend. Detroit closes at one of them. They're minus 11.5 right now on Bet365. They haven't closed as this high of a favorite since 1996 when they faced the Buccaneers as a 12-point favorite. This guy, Barry Sanders, went off that game. That was 459 games ago for Detroit. So a lot of football has been played since the last time the Lions were this big of a favorite. Road favorites since week 5 has started up are 16-2 against the spread. So road favorites performing pretty well here. And overall on the year, road teams, home field advantage gone, ? Overall, road teams on the year are 61, 39, and 3 against the spread, the second best win percentage through 7 weeks of the wild card era since 1990. So there's a couple trends for you in the league. Road favorites are doing pretty well, and that could be something that carries over into week 8. So let's get right into it. Eagles, Bengals, first up here. It looks like it just came out that T. Higgins, it's not official yet, but he has a quote-unquote uphill battle to play today. So that's a big loss for the Bengals in this one. The Eagles' first quarter offense, it continues to be a talking point in the NFL because of how bad it is. Their first quarter offense has had 13 possessions this year, 59 plays, 175 yards, or just 2.97 yards per play, 5 3-and-outs, 3 turnovers, 0 points. That's got to stop today. You can't play high-powered offenses and play from behind and expect good results all the time. Road unders with Jalen Hurts, maybe one to keep an eye on today. I actually like the over, but this is a little nugget of information for you under bettors. Road unders with Jalen Hurts are the way. And Hurts is 20-11 to the under on the road in his career, including 10-3 dating back to last season. That's the best mark of any quarterback in the NFL to the under. So Jalen Hurts on the road under bets are intelligent bets. Eagles got to look out today for the long ball. Obviously with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, kind of helps that a little bit, but Jamar Chase is still a nasty one. Burrow is completing 38% of his passes 20 yards or more downfield. That is the number 2 graded passer in the big chunk plays downfield, according to PFF. So the Eagles might want to, keep an extra eye on the downfield splash plays from the Bengals today. It's something to keep in mind. In 3 games away this season, the Eagles have gone over the total just once on the road. Games involving the Eagles have only gone over twice so far this season. The Bengals are putting up 237.5 passing yards per game, which lands them 8th in the NFL. So a big test today for Quinyon Mitchell. Darius Slay missed a couple days of practice this week as he's healing up, getting ready for the game as a vet. So a couple player props I like. A.J. Brown, over 75.5 receiving yards. I like that. That just seems like clockwork. Hell, it seems like Jalen Hurts is only looking at A.J. Brown out there. So I think you'll get a good opportunity there. Saquon, anytime touchdown. It just feels like a really good bet right now. And I'm actually going to go over the 48. I have no strong play on the line on this one. I think this is a coin flip game. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a tight one. No real strong play, but the Eagles right now, currently on bet365, are sitting at plus 2.5. I do like that over 47.5. Eagles on the money line plus 120 is not bad value if you think they have a shot. So there's the breakdown of the big one today. Now let's get into some of the other games. All right. First up here, we got the Falcons and the Buccaneers. The Falcons are -2 at Tampa Bay. Over under on this one is 45.5, -135 on the money line. This, to me, I like the Falcons here. The Falcons have covered 2 straight games in Tampa entering this one. First time they've done that since 2010 in its franchise history. Atlanta has never covered 3 straight games on the road against the Bucs. So hopefully that trend gets bucked today. A good home spot for the Buccaneers. In the last decade, teams who have played Monday Night Football at home are at home again as the favorites are 24-6 straight up, 18-14 against the spread. Baker Mayfield in his career on short rest is 7-5 against the spread. And teams after facing the Ravens in the last 3 seasons are 27-15 straight up in their next game. It's like the Ravens bring the best out of you the following week. That being said, give me the Falcons -2 in this one. I'll roll with them there. All right, next up, Colts and Texans. Right now on Bet365, the Colts are plus 4.5 at Houston. Over under on this one, 45.5. Since 2013, the Colts are 10-1-1 against the spread on the road in Houston. Anthony Richardson is 1-0 straight up and against the spread in Houston. The only against the spread losses came against, some big boy quarterbacks. Anthony Richardson faces a good offense in the Texans this week, who are averaging 23.6 points per game. He's 0-2 against the spread in his career, facing offenses scoring 20 points or more per game, losing to the Packers and Rams. Packers this year, Rams last year. So Anthony Richardson, when he gets in shootouts, not really the best spot for him. This is C.J. Stroud's 4th career game against the Colts. He's 1-2 against the spread in those. He scored 20 or more points in all 3 meetings, but his defense has not allowed him to cover those, allowing 27 and 31 points in those losses. So wanted to keep an eye on there. I like the Texans minus the 4.5. Give me them at home in that one. All right, Ravens-Browns, a little AFC North battle. The Ravens are -8.5. Over under on this one, it's 45. To lay the Ravens on the money line, you got to lay -425. No, thank you there. This screams trap to me. Ravens feels like it should be easy. Now, you're not getting Deshaun Watson quarterbacking the Browns, so you're automatically going to get an offensive improvement because he's the worst quarterback that maybe ever existed and a worse person. And now you get the Jameis Winston bump, who, teammates love. They'll probably feel refreshed and energized by an opportunity here. It's a division opponent. The Browns' offense without Deshaun Watson is just much better, plain and simple. I want to say Raven. Actually, it just changed as we're doing this to -7.5. So the Ravens just dropped from 8.5 to 7.5 as we're doing the show here. It's that division battle. Browns might show up at home. I'm going to say the Ravens as my pick, but I kind of want to take the Browns, as gross as that sounds, a little bit of the Jameis bump. On the road, Lamar Jackson in his career, 4-0 against the spread. Cleveland offense has been the issue. They're the 4th team to start 7 games without scoring 20 or more points since the 2009 Redskins, 2005 Ravens, 2004 Redskins. Pretty amazing. Now, Jameis typically stinks at covering at home. His Achilles heel throughout his career was covering home games. He's 13-23-2 against the spread at home in his career, which ranks 150th out of 152 qualifying quarterbacks. I'm gonna pick the Ravens on this one. Good luck to everyone. I think this is the classic trap one. This is a little bit of a trappy weekend to me because this next one also seems a little too easy. The Green Bay Packers are -3.5 at Jacksonville. Over under on this one is 49. When you look at this one on the surface, you go, man, this is just screaming the Packers. Like it almost like I want to go put a month's mortgage payment on the Packers. That's how much it jumps out to me. And whenever something like that happens, I'm like, sometimes it is just too easy. But most of the time, there's something to it. Ebb and flow league. Jacksonville, coming back from London for 2 weeks. If they really like Doug Peterson, is this a spot where they show up for him today? Knowing his back's against the wall there. Does Trevor Lawrence snap out of his funk? I want to say Packers, but I'm putting this one as the trap alert of the week. We'll see what happens in this one. So, but some trends in this one. Trevor Lawrence is 2-7 against the spread the last 2 seasons at home, tied for the second worst with Kirk Cousins in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence's last 3 starts have gone over the total. He's only had 4 straight starts to the over in his career, once in 59 attempts. Trevor Lawrence is 33-26 to the under in his career. The role of a favorite hasn't been too kind to Jordan Love on the inverse. Love is 4-5 against the spread as a favorite in his short career. And he's 10-6 against the spread as an underdog. So he plays much better as an underdog. Through the first 5 games, Jordan Love had 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and a 56% completion percentage, the lowest amongst quarterbacks with 100-plus pass attempts at the time. Matt LaFleur, though, he does an incredible job facing quality opponents. He's 28-16 against the spread, which is 64% against teams with a 500 or better record, the 6th best mark of any head coach since 2003. I'm setting it as the trap alert, but we're going to kind of barrel through this one. Give me the Packers -3.5, but this one's on stink watch here. The New England Patriots are hosting the New York Jets. This one is this I thought was the toughest game of the weekend to pick. The New York Jets -7 over under 41 on this one, -330 on the money line. Again, second week with Aaron Rodgers' boy. Why am I blanking on his name right now? Devontae Adams. Do they get going? They didn't have much happening last week. Aaron Rodgers, was talking a lot this week in the media. It's kind of a tough spot for them. He believes they can get on a roll. Patriots stink, but Gerard Mayo called his team soft this week. And then he had Bill Belichick in the media being like, those guys aren't soft. So do the Patriots show up? This is a tough spot. I'm going to take the Pats and the points at home. It's 7 right now. Give me the Pats plus the 7 in this one. The Patriots are returning from a London game with no rest in between. The teams that do this are actually faring better than you would think. They're 16-8 straight up, 13-11 against the spread in their next game home with no rest. So an interesting one there. Give me the Pats plus the 7. All right, Cardinals at Dolphins. The Cardinals are +4 down in Miami. This is a big week for the Dolphins. Over-under on this one comes in at 46. +170 for the Cardinals on the money line. Now, Tua Tagovailoa is returning to play this week. Tyreek Hill has let everyone know he's back. You can start me in fantasy again. The offense is back. So Tua there. Look, if he comes in and makes the Dolphins look like they did last year, just give Tua the MVP, apparently. Sheesh. So a totally different animal today with the Dolphins than it has been since week 1 this year. Kyler Murray has only started 2 games on the road in short rest in his career. He lost 30-12 in Detroit, and in 2020, he lost 28-21 in Seattle. So he's 0-2 against the spread in this spot, failing to cover by an average of 17 points. But he's much better as a dog than he is a favorite in his career. Kyler is not a quarterback you usually want to go against as a dog. He's 28-17-2 against the spread as a dog in his career, when only 10-16 as the favorite. The Dolphins are 0-3 against the spread at home this season. They're typically a very good home team when they have a real quarterback. So you almost want to like scrape that stat and just go, all right, well, it's a different Dolphins team now. Tua, in the 9 games without Tua, they're scoring 21 or less in 8 of those 9 games. The Dolphins are 1-8 in their last 9 games overall, dating back to last season against the spread. It's their worst 9-game stretch since 15-16. Give me the Dolphins -4 for Tua's return. Maybe Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill look normal again with competent quarterback play. All right, next up, the Bills at the Seahawks. The Bills at the Seahawks, kind of a weird one. Two very northern cities just flying across Canada to get there. It feels like a long flight. The Bills, -3, over under 45 on this one. Bills as a -160 money line road favorite. Josh Allen has 73 wins in his career, and 52 of those 73 have been by 7 or more points, which is pretty wild when you think about it. When the spread for Allen is 6 points or more, he is 35-8 straight up. 26 of those 35 he won by 8 or more. So he is somebody that can cover a big spread. The interceptionless streak Josh Allen has going on right now is at 9 consecutive games. Prior to the 9-game stretch, he had a pick in 12 of the previous 13. So something on the turnover front has clicked for Josh Allen. That's pretty impressive. Let's see if he can make it 10 today. Geno Smith, since the beginning of last season, is 3-8 against the spread at home, the worst mark of any active quarterback in the NFL, with Sam Howell, who is 0-7-1 at home. Smith, in his career, 11-17-2 against the spread as a favorite, and 23-19-2 against the spread as an underdog. So another guy like Kyler Murray that performs pretty well as an underdog, not as a favorite. Historically, being a home dog has been an advantage in Seattle. They're 25-15-1 against the spread as home dogs since 2003, including an 11-5 against the spread in the first 2 months of the year. That being said, again, I feel like I'm saying this a lot today. I'm kind of ignoring that and forging on with, I think, the better team. The better team doesn't always cover spreads, though. That's why, as they say, Vegas wasn't built overnight. That's not what they say at all. I don't even know what I just said. All right, the New Orleans Saints are heading to the Los Angeles Chargers. Dennis Allen has struggled as a hold on. Let me -7 over under 41. Okay, Dennis Allen. He has struggled as a head coach when they have extra time to prepare. It's like the anti-Andy Reid. He's 15-41 straight up on normal or short rest as a coach of the Saints and Raiders. That is putrid. 0-2 against the spread and straight up this year with Spencer Rattler quarterbacking the Saints. They're being outscored 84-37 in those 2 games. The Saints defense has made a turn for the worse. They've now allowed 26 or more points in 4 straight games, including 30+ in consecutive starts. Since 2018, the Saints have been more consistent as a road team than a home team. We talked about when the Eagles were down there. The Saints are actually not that good at home. They're 22-34 against the spread at home, 34-20-1 against the spread away from home or on a neutral site. The 3rd best road neutral team against the spread in the NFL, and the 2nd worst home team. Pretty amazing there. Over the last 2 seasons, the under is 15-4 in Justin Herbert's starts. He's the most profitable quarterback to the under in that span. In the last 3 years, he's 25-12 to that mark. So everybody thinks Herbert's airing it out and air show, greatest show, blah blah blah. No, he's actually an under machine. Herbert has closed as a 7-point or higher road favorite in his career. A 6-1 straight up, 5-2 against the spread in those games. Give me the Saints plus the 7 on this one. Just going kind of vibes a little bit here. All right, next game, Carolina Panthers plus 11 at the Denver Broncos. Over under on this one is 41.5. This game just kind of stinks a little bit, if we're being honest. Do you really want to take the Broncos to cover a double-digit spread? Bryce Young's quarterbacking the Panthers. That's just a bad team. So look, how do you bet on this one? Give me the Broncos minus the 11, but this isn't a void for me, just because, ew. Since Christmas of last year, the Panthers are just 1-8 straight up and 1-8 against the spread, with their only win coming against the Raiders this year after benching Bryce Young in exchange for Andy Dalton. And then after that game, Andy Dalton was just terrible for them, as everyone pretty much is. The Panthers, much like the Eagles, start slow. They're 1-13 against the first half spread in their last 14 games, the worst mark in the NFL during that span. So if you're a first half bettor, bet the Broncos in this one. The Broncos haven't closed as a 7-point favorite since September 18th of 2022, over 2 years ago, and the team was quarterbacked by Russell Wilson. That being said, give me the Broncos first half line, probably minus 5.5, and give me the Broncos minus 11. All right, Chiefs Raiders. This is another one that just feels a little too easy on paper. Chiefs minus 8.5 over under on this one is 42. You see that? You see how bad, they're going back to Gardner Minshew. The Raiders are just a mess. It just feels too easy. Give me the Chiefs. Actually, that has dropped. In my notes, they were minus 9.5. Now that one's down to 8.5. So that's dropped this morning. That wasn't that long ago. I was making my notes. So if you like player props, Brock Bauer, take a look at his over today on the player prop. You can do milestones on bet365, or you can do the listed lines, up to you. But Brock Bowers, the rookie from Georgia, since week 4, which is when Devontae Adams left the Raiders, at least left the lineup of the Raiders, Bowers leads all tight ends in target share percentage and is third in the NFL in reception among all players. Brock Bowers is now the focal point of this offense. If you want to look at his, whether over on catches or yards today, I think there's a lot of value there in that. Third overall in the NFL since week 4 is pretty incredible there. The Raiders are having a tough time staying close in games this year. They've fallen behind by double digits in each of the 7 games this season. They're just the 4th team to do that in the last 30 years. So give me the Chiefs. Dating back to last year, Patrick Mahomes has covered the second half spread in 11 straight games, meaning he's coming back and just finishing teams off, including 13-1 against the second half spread in the last 14 starts. That's incredible. And as a favorite of 7 points or more, Patrick Mahomes in his career is just 22, 27, and 3 against the spread. On the road, it falls to 5, 10, and 2. So keep it that in mind, but give me the Chiefs minus the 8.5. Probably Raiders getting some action at 9.5, making them drop that down a little bit. All right, 49ers are hosting the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Cowboys plus 4.5 on the road. Over under on this one is 47. Dallas Cowboys stink. Give me the 49ers minus the 4.5 at home. Dating back to last year, the Cowboys have struggled against the spread. They're 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 games, tied for the worst mark of any NFL team in that span. The Cowboys keep getting overinflated by the books. They haven't adjusted to it yet. So I think 4.5 is a good number here on the 49ers, who are getting Deebo Samuel back after his hospital stint this week. But of course, Brandon Ayuk lost for the year there. Dak has struggled as a dog in his career. He's 17-19 against the spread, but 2-9 against the spread as a dog in his last 11 starts. Dak Prescott is 29-12 against the spread versus the NFC East. He dominates it. Against everybody else, he's 38, 46, and 2. So he beats up on his division. Since 2003, the most profitable against the spread coach on extended rest, well, that would be Mike McCarthy, who is 38, 23, and 3 against the spread. And he's 13-5 against the spread with the Cowboys in his career. Brock Purdy is 7-4 against the spread versus the NFC West, and just 11-12 against the spread versus all other divisional opponents. One of those two trends has to go here. I'm going to bet that it's the 49ers. All right. And then Monday Night Football, we got the New York Giants versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russell Wilson had that offense kind of back to life last week. We'll see if it continues here. He's got to deal with Dexter Lawrence and a pretty good Giants defense, but Giants offense stinks. The Steelers -6. Over-under on this one is 36.5. One stat I can't get out of my mind, that is the Jets and Giants in prime time. In the last 36 games the two teams have played in prime time, the Jets and Giants are now 4-32 straight up. That's terrible. Dating back to 1992, the Steelers on the inverse are a machine in primetime Monday night games. The Steelers are 21-1 straight up at home in Monday night football games, with the only loss coming to Washington in 2020, surprisingly. Russell Wilson last week made the Steelers look pretty good. Through the first 6 weeks, Pittsburgh's average yards per play were at 4.76, 26th in the league with Justin Fields. Last week, that number jumped to 6.2 yards per play, which was 7th in the NFL. When Russ is listed as a favorite in his career in prime time, he is 27-7 straight up, including 9-1 straight up as a favorite of 7 or more. So give me the Steelers -6 in that one. That rounds out the games. Now, don't forget, we have the custom PHLY boost on the homepage of Bet365. Also cooked up another one here that JP made into a lovely little graphic with some of my favorite plays this weekend. Even though I'm hesitant on the Ravens and Texans, there's a little plus 5-1 same game parlay. Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown. Jalen Hurts over 250 passing yards. I think today's the day, especially if they go down early. They're going to have to air it out. A.J. Brown, give me 75 or more yards there. Bet number 1, I like the Ravens a lot, but I'm really scared by the Jameis Winston division opponent trap effect there. So I'm holding my nose a little bit, but I do like it, I think. We'll see. And then bet number 2, the Texans -5. So there's some of my thoughts for this weekend. Hopefully you found this information helpful. I am certainly no handicapper. I'm never going to give you my percentages. I'm just a guy that likes betting on football. So hopefully you enjoyed the show. Make sure you download the Bet365 app and find out why it's never ordinary there. Use that code PHLY365 at sign up. You can get $200 in bonus bets when you sign up. And please gamble responsibly. To my man K-Red, who's always here, good luck gambling this weekend. Good luck to everybody out there. Hopefully we win some money and take it all from Bet365. All right, happy week 8, everyone. We'll see you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.